answer mine unless I know who's calling me. I'll let them leave a message.
You
I mean, unless it's for work. I'll recognize work area codes usually. But I'll let people leave messages and then call them back.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you have to do.
But I don't, for development purposes and work purposes, I don't. But you're right, people don't really, you don't know the number. Well, I've kind of got a similar issue too, because I've got a 704 area code for Charlotte. Companies 337. I didn't even know what it was. And, a lot of times people say, oh, I thought you worked with the firm in Atlanta. Well, I do, but I've got a 704 area code. It can be confusing. And I've thought about that before, wondering if I could get another.
So oftentimes, and I have the same concern that Stephen has, and when we're calling, and we ask them to call back, it's a very low percentage that are going to say, oh, I heard that you're in town, you wanted to give me an update on the children's home, come on over, that doesn't happen. So at least I figured, okay, we can thank them, and let them know what they, kind of give them a mini update on the phone on the answer machine.
Yeah, do you find out if you give them an update, okay, for example, when we have people call about feasibility study, wanting them to be involved, when the office of the organization calls, sometimes well, tell me what's going on. Well, we kind of want to just talk to you about it when we get there.
Right.
So it's kind of, don't want to give too much away because you want them to still want to talk with you.
We want to talk about the future of the organization.
You're talking about feasibility study, they're talking about just a regular.
Yeah, but anything that you want to share with them and you want to be in front of them, tease them a little, but don't tell them so much that they don't still want to talk with you. I guess it's for feasibility study or regular call or solicitation call, whatever it is. Somebody may just answer and say, you don't have to meet with me, I'm going to give anyway, and this is what I'm going to give.
That's one thing we can do is share our information with people in the hopes that they'll click it and it'll be in their phone and your name will come up.
That's why I guess business cards are important.
Yeah.
Do you have regular communications? I hope so, like quarterly.
Yes.
If you can't have regular communications, sometimes people say, well, don't do it every so often because then you look kind of unorganized. If you say, well, we're going to do a quarterly newsletter, but you do one in March and then you do another one, and you wait too long and you're trying to do two close together, then it looks a little fishy. So put it on a calendar. Have a communications calendar. So you can have newsletters go out. You can have people who you want to call on certain days, people's birthdays, whatever it is, people's cat birthdays, whatever. Calendar just for communication is not a bad idea. And again, make sure the grammar is correct, everything, things are spelled correct. We had an issue with one of the clients I worked with where the feasibility study coordinator sent a letter and they had the last name spelled wrong in the database, so she just didn't catch it. But that person sent the letter back. Sort of if you want to talk to me, I should know how to spell it.
Embarrassing. Or you send a letter to Bob and Sue.
Sue's no longer Bob.
9 years ago, Sue and I divorced. I'm now married to Carolyn, and we got the mail.
Now we're divorced.
Sue's not alive, and sometimes you don't. It's not communicated to you.
Yeah.
Bob and Sue hadn't given a gift in 9 years either. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is hard to keep up with deceased.
Oh, yeah.
And with divorces.
Happens all the time, yes.
Oh, yeah. It's never ending.
How do you do that if someone doesn't tell you about it? Do you look at the obituaries? Do you look at look at the
marriages and divorces that are public in the paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Call
it's
them
just
and apologize.
for what?
I call them and apologize.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah. My last church, I sent an anniversary card to a prominent church member. And the next Sunday she said, I really appreciated the card, but you don't realize my husband died a year ago. And I understand you're the new pastor, no one told you that. So I don't take offense to it. But preacher.
Well, it's still their anniversary.
Yeah. She said, if I would be you, I'd get with somebody and go through your list because apparently the list is not correct.
And that's hard, especially big lists. It's really hard.
Anniversary card, that was really nice. I've never gotten a card from a pastor for that.
handwritten no less.
That's very thoughtful.
He's an overachiever.
He is.
Yeah,
That's why we have.
He's not a weenie.
that's right.
He's teeing it up for
And
you.
hopefully
That's right.
most
That's
people
right.
like she did, they understand, but, occasionally you'll get those
That's very thoughtful.
Well,
personal.
thank you. I send birthday cards and anniversary cards.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully your communication offers some kind of a two-way back.
A lot of people are using American Express because they want the points
Yeah.
for the charity.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I'm not giving a gift to stock and I'm making a charitable donation, it's gonna be through American Express, because I get the deduction and I get the points.
How many clicks does it take on your website to be able to give a gift when you go to your website?
Donate button brings you to the donate page.
Good. You need a
Not
donate,
for.
you need a donate button on pretty much every different page on your website.
You should be more than 2 clicks away.
And that's just for, general purposes. I wouldn't say this, when it comes to campaign stuff, we gotta be a little bit more strategic. But the other thing, is it easy to reach you? The development person. If somebody wants to make a gift, but they have questions, or they wanna make a, one that's a little more complicated, are you easy to find? Are you easy to, I've looked for people before, just curious about other organizations, and sometimes I don't even know who the development person is. I can't find the department, I can't find, and it's frustrating. So if I was wanting to give a gift to them, I'd just, move on.
Our pictures and cell phone numbers on the back of the newsletter every quarter.
And every letter we mail out using the stationery is there.
You know what I don't like? This is just me personally, some people do. When it says, if you have questions, feel free to reach us here, and it'll be like you can email them. What happens is it won't take you to their phone number, it takes you to this little message box where you can type in a message and wait to see when they contact you. They don't have a number, they don't have, I don't know, that bugs me for some reason. I'm like, I don't, it's not that important, I don't want to even, go through that.
I totally agree with that. It's about as impersonal as you can get.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, it does. If I can pick up, I'm not a big phone person, but if I want to ask a question or get more information, I do want a person. I don't want to, type in and wait and see if they call me back. So how can people communicate with you, and how easily, how quickly? So you need to be looking at those things all the time. Let's see. Publications. The people that do your newsletters now, when you go into a campaign, you got to be thinking, we're going to either want a separate campaign newsletter, which I've seen work really well, or add a part in the newsletter specifically about the campaign. So whoever's handling your newsletters, your communications, needs to be aware that may be a little extra time. It may be, they have to be sure to get all the right information.
Which ones do you recommend? Separate newsletter? Or?
I think separate newsletter is more effective, but sometimes it's not really practical. But have you seen one work better than the other, Rob?
Most of them are separate.
And the reason I think that's a good idea too is, remember I said that it needs to have its own identity. So it's complimentary. They kind of recognize, oh, it's still got your name on it. Not just newsletters, stationery, note cards, specifically for the campaign.
Everything.
Different logos too.
And even different colors.
Didn't you say it's something, it looks a lot like you, but it's different?
Yeah, you can have, if you want to use, similar colors, or just if you want to use your colors in a different logo for specifically the campaign. If your campaign's smart, we've got it down to the science, it's going to be different font, different something to make it stand out. They know it's you, but they know it's a special thing. And we can probably find some good examples. I know one organization I worked with, their logo was kind of a stained window or something, but it had all these other things with it. I forget what. Maybe it was a stained window was on like a shield or something. But they just took that one part of their logo, and that kind of made that the main thing. so you can use portions of it and just kind of get creative with it. What are some of the most costly ways to communicate, and what are some of the cheapest? Not necessarily how much you raise because of these, but just outwardly. Mailings, I mean, your mailing's gotta be crazy.
Yeah.
And I know you're gonna kind of look at that, but yeah,
Printing
postage.
and postage.
Yeah.
What do you find is the easiest, cheapest? Just a email blast of some sort?
Good idea.
Yeah, even that's not, it just takes some time.
We've gotten away from a printed newsletter, which may be our being weakness.
Well,
Not asking for money every
you
time.
gotta identify your composite giver, and
Yes.
are they gonna want newsletters in paper, or are they gonna want email?
Well, and find out, and then segment them. You know, do you want to opt out? Yes. If you don't, then keep sending them the paper. You know, it may take a while to kind of get everybody where they need to be, and eventually we may just be everything being sent through the email. But
My problem is trying to talk people into that we need it back in the budget because they don't want to spend the money on it, so it's not.
Well, another thing is, you read newsletters aren't designed to generate revenue.
Right.
But newsletters create that's your
Awareness.
fundraiser and your awareness.
Yeah.
You've got to build an awareness foundation before you can go out there and meet people.
Again, if they're thinking about cutting you, just communicate, okay, you're gonna cut, that by definition means that you also have to forfeit this amount of income, because it's a directly proportional relationship. You cut to your peril in resource development.
on page 98 at the top, there's a budget for things you want to consider too. Campaign. Is there anything we're leaving out there that you guys have found that is helpful? I think it covers most of it. We're good with that. Job burnout. Okay, we want to keep good development people. We want to make sure that they're not overworked, overstressed, underpaid. So there's things that you can do to avoid the job burnout. Some of you are here doing that now, just being out of the office. Hopefully your development staff's out of the office a lot, but usually it's for, other reasons. But this is a time to get together and learn and kind of refresh.
Sharpen your sword.
Sharpen your sword. A lot of times people go back, they're all excited, they're looking, oh, I had this idea and this idea. Then it kind of, you get busy working, answering emails, and it kind of falls along the wayside. Try to stay excited about these things, kind of maybe even before you go home or on the way home if you're not driving. Kind of make a plan of next week I'm going to look into this. Next, I'm going to look at our calendar, whatever, and go ahead and kind of schedule it out so you won't forget to pick those ideas back up. Staff retreats. I've been to some good ones. I've been to some really bad ones. This organization here has got the place to go for a staff retreat, though.
Get one of my cards.
It's not, it's pretty, it's beautiful, it's calm, it's horses and things you climb and things you swing on and all kinds
Zip
of.
lining.
But it's team building, And as he was showing me some of these things and how, I know one of them, I don't know what you call this, Patrick, but there were two ropes that were attached to a tree. Kind of this.
It's called the Wild Woozy.
Wild Woozy.
My
And
favorite low elf.
And you might want to explain how it works, but it sounds like something that some of these development departments could do just to get closer and to kind of learn better.
You want to talk about it now?
No, I want you to talk about it. Yeah, I want you to.
Okay. It's an interdependence experiential learning device. It's about 1.5 feet off the ground. There's 3 trees involved, and at one tree at the apex, there's 2 cables connected. And then the cables diverge to 2 other trees, equidistant. And 2 climbers stand on the cables facing each other with their hands interlocked above their heads. And they work their way toward the end. And basically, you want this kind of posture when you get to the end, fully leaning in on each other, fully trusting that the other person is going to hold you up. Invariably, when you get halfway down there, you get into the save my butt posture, which always implodes. And it's counterintuitive to trust people in a scary situation. So to experience it and learn it, gives it a home in your body and in your psyche. So we've got a whole course of that kind of stuff. Then we've got the high ropes, which are you jump off a telephone poles and zip lines and things like that.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to the children's home, so it's
Yeah,
really good
see,
stuff.
that's what got him where he is, so, there's things like that are fun, but they're also, you know, good learning,
Yeah. Plus we had 20 horses and you interact with the horses.
they're beautiful.
Got ducks.
Ducks and goats, cats and dogs.
Some retreats you can get there, you know, and then you're enclosed in this room and that's all you do. I don't think those are very effective. I mean, at least we have windows here, so this is good. But, you know, you gotta have a little time, a little social interaction, a little bit of getting to know strengths and limitations of everybody on your team. So I think that would be money worth spending. You could always rent a house. You got how often do you brainstorm with your staff? Do you sit down and just talk about things like the newsletters or whatever, get feedback? What are their thoughts? You want to make sure that people all have ownership. You know, whether you agree or not, listen and let them know you know they were heard. You know, you may be the head honcho, but get ideas from everybody.
If I may, just thinking about some different dynamics here, I want to think in terms of relating us to the CEO, okay? And what I remember being a fun fact to know and tell with universities, I think this was out of Case or one of the big, is that they found that the more lucrative, successful resource development operations, that there was proximity between the college president and the chief development officer. That there was geographic proximity, and that the closer they were together, the more muscular the performance of the development operation. So I just thought that was kind of, you know, the light went on when I heard that. I think of Mississippi Children's Home and about how they were tripping somewhat. There was not as muscular a resource development operation. And one thing that I noticed is that the chief development officer was not among the ranks of the chief officers, you know, that met directly with the chief development officer. And, you know, the program person was there with the CEO. The accountant was there with the CEO, but not the head resource development officer. And, you know, I was begging them to say, listen, you know, if you want a more muscular resource development operation, you're going to need a reporting where the head development officer can meet with the other administrative chiefs and be able to communicate with them the importance of resource development and so that was that. And pretty much the same with healthcare. I mean, I do think that you're going to need to have a way to communicate with the chiefs, you know, so that they kind of understand your role and just again, it allows a culture of development to flourish. That in its absence you're not going to get. So, and it is by definition the head development person is on for communicating, you know, the whys and wherefores and the math of resource development.
You don't mean that the office has to be in the same building, you're just talking about the
Well,
ease of
for
communication.
colleges and universities, there was that relationship between proximity
Yeah.
of the head of the foundation and the college president. But what I'm saying is, I would think and hope that for you, as the head of development, you would be in there with the CEO, with the other heads of the other areas.
But I am.
Okay.
Not in the same building, but in the same.
Oh, no, that's okay, that's okay.